welcome to another live edition of the Real Estate Show, the third live edition this week because it's Wednesday, hump day, the middle of the week, and that means it's also time for the midweek report. We've got a great week so far here on the Real Estate Show. As you know, last night was our big event, our Fearless First-Time Homebuyers Workshop. Those of you who were able to attend, we had a great turnout. Once again, full capacity. If it were an auditorium, it would have been standing room only, but it was a Zoom meeting that we actually filled up the third time in a row. The topic is obviously something that's near and dear to many people's heart. And as you'll see in today's news article, it's not just something that's near and dear to South Florida hearts, but literally across the country. And so as a result of that, I was watching an interview on CNBC, and they were talking about, of course, the inflation. They were talking about some of the latest information going on in the news. And they were saying that the only way to really protect yourself, of course, number one, real estate is the best hedge against inflation, period, bar none. And they were saying the only way to really protect yourself is to be your own landlord. I love that expression, to be your own landlord. That means you can either be a landlord, and in fact, it just gave me a whole bunch of new ideas. As you know, for years we've had the domain, the automatic landlord, and we teach landlords how to build a profitable landlording business and put it on automatic pilot. And this here kind of crosses that division of owner occupant, non-owner occupant story, because whether you are a landlord to others or a landlord to yourself, it puts you in a much better position in terms of building up assets over time, the ability to create income. And even if it is your own home, remember our conversation about the home hacking and the many income streams that you can generate even in your own home. And now this is kind of tied it all together. In fact, I'm surprised I didn't think about it myself a long time ago, but sometimes it's these little blind spots, these aha moments that become very, very revealing. And so anyway, the CEO of Smead Capital Management, Bill Smead, was on CNBC talking about how important real estate was. And even though many people sort of criticized him for saying that real estate and land was going to be a key factor in the next decade, that millennials were going to begin to spread themselves out across the country as opposed to coming into these clusters in the cities. And whether it was accelerated by the pandemic or was a movement that was starting all by itself, it clearly has become the case. And as a result of that, now what you're seeing here is that the overall perception of real estate near or far to a city has increased. The value of the intrinsic value of real estate has increased because now it's not just a roof over your head. It's all of the things that real estate can represent. And so kind of brings us to the point here where we were talking about this week about the importance of becoming a homeowner, becoming your own landlord. And it's kind of interesting. In fact, just before getting on the radio show, I was talking to an old family member who at some point in time had decided to sell and then go ahead and rent. And now is finding out after 25 years of living in the same place and then renting for a short period of time, they already have to move again. And at an elderly age, it's not really a great thing. Nothing that you definitely, it's not something that you're going to look forward to. And of course, now you're subject to rising rents across the board. You're seeing the inventory challenges of even finding a rental. Talking to another investor friend of mine who is selling everything that he has on the east coast of Florida to move to the west coast of Florida. And he was, basically saying the same thing. They went out there, and after spending several months trying to find where they were going to land, they ended up buying a piece of land, and they're going to build something because that's what was available. Now, fortunately, they have the time and the luxury of having two places across the state. But we have a very interesting, almost a perfect storm of what's going to happen and why. Last night, again, after our Fearless First Time Homebuyers webinar, I had a group call with some of our inner circle members, and these are some of our coaching clients, and we were having the conversation about what the future looks like for real estate. And one of the members of our group was saying, I keep hearing that we're heading towards a bubble because of the increasing rates. And so we had a long discussion about whether that's really likely to be the case. And I will tell you that I am not of that opinion. I think with the factors, and we'll talk more about that in the second half. But I just wanted to first of all thank all of you that attended the Fearless First Time Home Buyers Workshop. I was working, didn't get them all out, but as I promised, anyone who texted the letters DPA, down payment assistance, or as we like to call it this week, the down payment awards. These are gifts. They're not repayable down payments. Awards that are given in certain circumstances. The cities, counties, and states have them, and we have our own down payment assistance programs that is proprietary, not available at the county or the public offices that you go to, but through the efforts that we had to design our own program that goes hand in hand with some of our proprietary lending products, which is why I'm able to say over and over here on our radio show that you show me somebody that can demonstrate that they can afford to pay rent, that is coachable and cooperative, I will make them a homeowner if they'll just give us a call. And that's why I'm still going to continue to give out these 3 letters, and I still will provide the reports that I was providing to anyone who came to the workshop. If you text the letters DPA to 561-861-2366. In fact, we've actually enhanced, we because of the programs that we added for this latest workshop, we now have to update some of the reports. So the reports that we're going to send out, while they're going to come a day later, they are better than what we were going to send out. And like I said, for our listeners, I want you to have this too. It's absolutely for free. All you have to do is text DPA to 561-861-2366. That's 561-861-2366. So I'm going to go ahead, rather than jump into it first, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break right now so that we can steamroll through the rest of the radio show, talking about the news, real estate in the news, and everything as it ties into our whole conversation of why you should be your best position is for you to be your own landlord. Let alone being a landlord to others, but be your own landlord. So we're going to go ahead and take that break. You're listening to The Real Estate Show. My name is Eric Wilner. Don't touch that dial. I'll be right back. And we are here. I came, as my friend would often say, came in hot, because it's just a busy day. We had literally standing room only. About 20% of the room already booked an appointment voluntarily. So this is not something, like I said, no one's going to chase you down, but booked an appointment voluntarily for what we call our fast advanced approval, which is different than a pre-approval. And it's different than a qualification. Pre-qual isn't worth the paper that it's written on, because if the lender didn't review the income documents, whatever they are, and there's different ways of demonstrating income, the credit report to know where exactly you stand on that ladder that we talked about this week, then they're not committed to anything, you're not committed to anything, and you have no assurance that when you find the house that you want, that the money's actually going to be there. So let's see here. I lost one of my Build Back Better is a terrible policy with higher inflation, says Senator Portman. Let's see here. And welcome back. For those of you just joining us, you are listening to The Real Estate Show, South Florida's #1 program about real estate, America's longest running real estate radio show that is heard live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. It is live at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And it is available to you 5 different ways. It's on the AM station, our original 1470, where we started this whole journey 22 plus years ago. On the FM dial, a couple of places, 95.3, 96.9. On the apps, those are the free apps that you can download onto your smart device, like the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app are my 2 favorites. But radio.com, and there's even more. So the apps, you can download that for your specific type of smart device, right free from wherever you get your apps. Then there's our website. This is the easiest one to remember, Automatic Landlord. And today I'm really enjoying saying that, automaticlandlord.com. You can go to the top of the page where it says The Real Estate Show. You hit the drop-down menu where you can click Listen Live if you're there at 5. Or you can listen to us on demand anytime, 24/7, 7 days a week. Listen to literally, just an ocean of information, because we've been recording every single one of these shows. Every one of them is archived and put into our back office, which leads us to the other drop down is that you can actually download the podcast version of it and take it with you offline. So whether it's in the air, on the air, in the air, offline, or streaming multiple different ways, the Real Estate Show is really there, available all the time. And you also have the ability to watch us on our Facebook page. And all you have to do is go to Facebook, look for The Real Estate Show as if it was one word. Or if you don't have a Facebook page, you can still go directly to it at facebook.com/The Real Estate Show. So we were really focusing because last night was this is a real project of the heart for us that we have been working on and developing and bringing what I think is just a ton of not only very useful, but some of it very hard to come by information that most people do without. And imagine if you could have assistance with your down payment, assistance with your credit, assistance with your income and how to demonstrate it in the best possible light so that you get the loan from the lender. And bottom line is that you become a homeowner. And so that's what this is all about. And we also have some really interesting programs for first responders, for frontline, the frontline heroes. So whether you're a teacher, a fireman, ambulance driver, dispatcher, if you're in that network, you don't even have to be the ones out there on the front line. If you are employed in that line and you're part of what makes it successful, then there's programs that you qualify for that have lower down payments. And like I said, if you can afford to rent, if you can come up with first, last, and security, then there's no question in my mind that you could be a homeowner. And if you can't even afford that, but you could afford the payments, but not first, last, and security, that's where the DPA comes in handy. And again, take advantage of the free reports. There's a lot of information that you want to keep as a reference. And also, obviously, comes with our contact information so that when the time comes, and let me just suggest that the time is now, as you can see from all of this conversation, both in the first half of the program when we were talking about how there are certain people who are putting off the decision for many of the wrong reasons. Wrong reason number one is that we're about to enter into a real estate bubble. Remember, the lending that has occurred for the last 10 plus years has been only to the best borrowers. The lenders were basically cherry picking who they were giving loans to because they were being ultra cautious after having the pendulum swing the other way, when during the early 2000s you could qualify for what they call the liar loans, right? They would ask you what you make and they wouldn't verify. No income, no asset verification. And the joke in the industry is that we were hours away from no credit verification either. Well, then what are you verifying if you're not going to verify income, credit, or assets, and you're going to give 100% loan to anybody that wants one? Would be nice in concept, but obviously there's a certain responsibility when you borrow and buy a house. And if you don't have that responsibility, remember, real estate is a privilege. It's a goal that you want to aspire to. It is not in any way, shape, or form a right. And while there are a lot of people that, like us, who are trying to help more people get in one way or another, because we believe, and not only do we believe it, but science and research has proven that being your own landlord, that owning your own home has a positive effect on pride of ownership. So neighborhoods that are mostly owned are often viewed as better maintained and more valuable than those that are not. Those homes that are owned tend to have more well-adjusted kids, better grades in school, go to higher education, earn greater income. And it's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? If you make more money, you go into better neighborhoods, you buy instead of rent. And when your kids grow up in that environment, they come out of school making more money so that they buy instead of rent. And so there's all the arguments. The other reason why I don't believe that we're heading into a bubble is that how can you have a bubble when there is an enormous amount of pent up demand and not enough inventory? So even if interest rates go up, it's going to slow down the buying, but the cost of the properties will stay the same because those that can buy will pay. The interest rates may make the buying process or the rate of buying slow down because of affordability. Fewer people can afford it, but those that can will. And so you don't have the same a number of poor quality borrowers. In other words, borrowers that probably shouldn't have borrowed to begin with because they were given loans that they couldn't handle because they weren't verified as to their ability. And for the last 12 years, we have seen nothing but very strict and restrictive guidelines. So much so evidenced by you saw when we had the pandemic and we had a large number of people go into forbearance, when the sort of the end of the game, the light at the end of the tunnel was starting to show up that this was going to end, most people voluntarily got out of that payment vacation, which is forbearance. And so as a result, all of the conversation about this foreclosure tsunami and this tidal wave of people who couldn't pay their mortgages has really subsided. Now, are there people that can't make their payments? Yes. Are there a number of people that either were adversely affected by the pandemic? Yes. That never recovered from the pandemic, even a year and a half later from when it started? Yes. And that folks, they're probably, once the moratoriums are completely lifted, they're gone from a federal standpoint, but many banks are still taking their time. Many states have stepped in and extended it on a state level. And so we haven't really seen the full free market operation yet. And I don't expect anything to happen along those lines before the holidays. Let's just face it. Nobody wants to be the Grinch that stole Christmas, particularly in a pandemic. Mortgage companies have traditionally slowed down their foreclosure activities. In fact, in many cases, even paused them for the holiday season. So take some comfort in that, but understand that once the holiday is over, they will crank it up. And especially once the restrictions are completely gone, and you have to look in your particular state to see what the rules are and how long that goes on for. I think you'll see, obviously, the more liberal states will have extended a little bit longer. I've heard most of them will go either to the end of the year or into January, but some I've heard that go as far out as March. So check your state, and really be responsible about it. Don't leave it for the last minute to try to figure out a solution. If you want to debate or discuss some of the options, certainly you're welcome to give us a call. One way to get our information is go to our website at automaticlandlord.com. That's automaticlandlord.com. You can also reach us on our toll-free number, which is 888-595-7779. That's 888-595-7779. And you can contact us that way, or get the report and get all the information simply by texting DPA, like down payment assistance or down payment award, to 561-861-2366. I know that's a lot of numbers and a lot of places that I gave you, but we try to make it, whether your preference is texting, you got it. If your preference is the web is on the internet, you got it. And if you're still one of those people who likes to let their fingers do the walking on the dialing pad, you can call us and contact us that way as well. But rents are skyrocketing across the country, which is another one of the headlines that I didn't get to go into the details of it. But that is something that we're seeing on a local basis as well as on a national basis. So it's not just a national headline. You can see it right down. Every landlord that I have spoken to, from the ones you hear on the news, like Invitation Homes, that earlier this year, and we shared that article about how they were raising rents across the board by 8%. And think about that. And Invitation Homes came out and said that, I think, about 2 or 3 months ago. And only about a month ago, not even a month ago, did the Federal Reserve come out and admit that we're at inflation of 8%. Do you think that's a coincidence? Think about that. Do you think it's a coincidence? The inflation went up 6% just in October. I saw that headline earlier. And so, and think about this as kind of wind down and talk about why there won't be a bubble, and why getting yourself into a buying position in real estate might be a really good idea. Inflation was 8%, but appreciation in real estate here in the South Florida market was 15%. So 15% by itself sounds like an overheated economy. Subtract out that inflation, and it shows you how real estate is really a great hedge, because if you net out the 8 from the 15, that means we appreciated 7%, which for Florida is overheating or not. One way or another, lock it in while interest rates are low. By the way, refinances are falling as interest rates go up. Why? Because people have a lot of low interest rates, and as the interest rates go up, there's no reason to refinance, of course, unless you're looking to pull cash out or use money to maybe buy some more real estate. Anyway, we'll talk more about that. We'll also have some real interesting things tomorrow in our ATM edition of the Real Estate Show, where we talk about the money, and we'll show how that makes sense in being your own landlord. Anyway, that's it for today. I am your host, Eric Woolner. Each and every weekday, join us here at 5 o'clock. Until then, drive safe, and make it a great day. Bye-bye. Hey, Juan Luis, how are you?